İşte millet, işte milletine sevdalı lider, Cumhurbaşkanımız Recep Tayyip Erdoğan.
Maşallah. Maşallah. Aziz milletim.
Mashallah, my great nation, dear citizens of Kirsehir who welcomed us, with the sense of Ahi community. Dear guests, I would like to greet you all wholeheartedly. Hosting many soldiers of hearts, this beautiful city has brought us together, and I'm pleased to be here with you once again. Pir Ahi Evran Veli, who made it all possible for us to come together. I remember him with gratitude, and all the artists, all craftsmen, all people of this beautiful city. May the year Ahi Evran year be auspicious. I celebrate it, and may everyone enjoy it to the fullest. Nowhere in the world the craftsmen and artists have had such a well-rooted tradition and historic role that brought crafts and arts together. This well-rooted institution that our ancestors have left to us is a source of pride for us. Ahi community, which has never lost its profoundness, has principles that will be a remedy for the problems of this age, and it is one of the dearest and most valuable for us. Celebrating the 850th year of Ahi Evran is within the scope of this 2021 program of UNESCO Ahi Evran year, and it is very much to the point. Born in Hoi city, which is in the territories of Iran now, and spending his childhood in Azerbaijan, Ahi Evran then traveled to Anatolia. For a while he stayed in Kirsehir, Konya and Denizli, and then he settled down in Kirsehir province of our country, and he passed away here. And that's why the proposal file we submitted to UNESCO was prepared cooperatively with Iran and Azerbaijan. For the spiritual cure for humanity, it is necessary for Ahi Evran to be known and recognized by the whole world. And that is why we declared the year 2021 as the year of Ahi Evran. And this year we also celebrate the year Yunus Emre year and Hacı Bektaş year, bringing science and knowledge together, and ethics and trade together. The Ahi community, and as an institution, is to be introduced and promoted to the new generations in the most beautiful way possible, and we have been exerting efforts for that. Commemorating, remember, Ahi Evran, and Ahi Evran year celebrations are understood within this mindset. Dear brothers and sisters, our ancestors, along with their skills of conquesting, had the skills of establishing states. Those states were not established only through swords. However, the greatest and permanent conquest took place in hearts. At battlefields, thanks to the sacrifices of our martyrs and veterans, we claim many victories, and with figures such as Yunus Emre, Ahi Evran, and Hacı Bektaş, and many wise people, we reinforced our legacy and made it last. Under 32 titles, Ahi Evran breaks down the principles of Ahi community. And for centuries on these territories, it became the backbone of trade and solidarity. The witness to the era. Historians, in particular, underline the importance of Anatolia's flourishing socially and economically thanks to the Ahi community, and they registered that the Anatolian territories have become more of a thriving thanks to them. With the apprentices, with masters, and many other figures, such reputable institutions, orders, indeed, did progress as such. Economy, trade, social life go beyond material needs, and the principles of Ahi communities have then been rendered permanent and valid for centuries, and it is thanks to its ability to take the humanity into its very core. The power of Ahi community comes from the combination of arts, crafts, and morality, and the guarantee of practicing the rules without any compromises. Today we call it the total quality management and also the protection of the rights of consumers. And such rights and principles have been practiced by the Ahi community already for centuries. The social role of Ahi community is important in between the relations of consumers and producers, and it is also thanks to the balance it set between the laborers and the employers. This is the recipe of a social justice and social stability. The modern world has discovered certain remedies over the past century only. However, in the orders of Ahi community, we see those principles written down and recorded in detail. At this point that the humanity has arrived, the advancement we have registered in economy and science indeed are the results of such know-how of centuries by Ahi communities. Social and economic order, economy, and science indeed found its grounds centuries ago. And if it were not for those people of Ahi community, we would have found ourselves in a very much different position now. Without remembering Ibn Sina, we cannot understand medicine now. Without knowing Al Jazeera, we cannot go down to the roots of history. Farabi, Biruni, Harizmi, and Kindi. Without knowing them, we cannot talk about mathematics. Without knowing Yusuf Hajim and Ibn Khaldun, we cannot understand political science or sociology. As Yahya Kemal put it very beautifully, those who have their roots in the past have the liability to bring what has left traces in our history into the future, remember them, and remind them to the whole world. The conscience of being a nation will be kept revitalized and alive as such, and our visions will expand as such, our targets will grow bigger as such. In our political life and also the life of governing have always acted with this principle, and we are. And for that reason, we talk about 2023 goals and 2053 vision, 2071 vision. My brothers and sisters, Ahi Evran, Hacı Bektaş, and Ahi Evran lived in the era of Hacı Bektaş and Mevlana Rumi. And the rumor has it that in Konya, Somebody asked Rumi what he was occupied with, and Mevlana Rumi pointed the skies and said, "We speak the name of Allah and we whirl." And the same person goes then to Hacı Bektaş and asks him what they do. The same question, and Hacı Bektaş replies. He says, "We speak the word of Allah, the name of Allah, and we pause, we stop." And then he goes to Ahi Evran and asks the same question, and Ahi Evran says, "We say Allah, we speak Allah, and we work," he said. Essentially, all of those answers are geared toward the same destination and gives different routes to the same destination and expresses the deeds that will ensure so. So we understand from that to be a member of Ahi community, it is first things first necessary to work and have a profession, and Ahi Evran is said to be a master of leather production. So these are the people who have the ability to process leather well, and the workshop of an Ahi is his working place as well as his service to God. For example, a craftsman who processes iron also needs to
Rabbine olan şükrünü de nakşeder. Sizler işte böyle bir geleneğin
cherish and flourish his other skills, and you are the representatives of such, because the craftsmen, the tradesmen, merchants are not only those who are only occupied with what they do, they are also the ears, the eyes, the conscience, and the guides of the community they live in. Research companies, sociologists, and political scientists indeed are equally skillful with the craftspeople of the time. And it is thanks to such a culture we have had. In Turkish culture, you cannot find even a single family who did not have any member of the trades industry, because the story of many start from a small shop or a workshop. The roots of our country's flourishing and walking towards its goals indeed is related with this morality, the ethics of working with the understandings of the craftsmanship. And we believe that this is the guarantee, this is the assurance of our brighter future to come. In places where the doors are open to all ethnicities, there is no separation among religions, languages, or roots or ethnicities. The fruitfulness comes from God, says the craftspeople, and they will not choose from whom their fruits will come. The skills that are obtained thanks to the apprentice and master relations do not only give a profession to young people, but also teach them respect, honesty, decency, insight, and humbleness. All from all ages who own shops, small shops, indeed use this and see this culture as a mean not only to generate money but also to have the ethics, possess the morality needed. And our unity, our fraternity, our solidarity make us stand tall. Our nation have been tested many times and overcame many calamities. Even what we have endured over the past 18 years indeed is an example to set for all to learn from. My brothers and sisters, thanks to the fraternity which do bring us together as the cement of a unified wall, is thanks to, again, the solidarity we have had, and we have overcame all challenges with this, and we again will be building the strong and great Turkey of the future together. Distinguished brothers and sisters, for over the past years we have been fighting against a pandemic that has shaken the whole world and brought a major blow on many economies. And this pandemic has affected us as well as it has all in the world. And with all the citizens we have lost, of course, we feel saddened, and our hearts burn. And our craftsmen, our small shop owners, our merchants are impacted by this pandemic the most. From the first days on the pandemic on, to reduce the heaviness of the load of this pandemic, we have taken many measures. First, we practiced the economic shield program. Our craftsmen, our small shop owners and artisans had the chance to postpone, to defer their credits or payments installments, and we have restructured their debts for 2 consecutive years through Halk Bank, enterprise credit lines and commercial credit lines have been opened in March 16, 20 and February 5, 2021. Around 760,000 people used an interest rate reduction of 17 billion liras. And in 2020, the total amount of the loans used is 43 billion liras. Benefiting from the low interest rate credits, the number of the artisans and small shop owners has exceeded 965,000. My brothers and sisters, as of the end of August, 140,000 shop owners and artisans benefited from the low interest rate credit lines, a reduction of 17 billion liras, and the repayments have been deferred with the deduction of interest rates. When it comes to the debts to the private banks, we also have deferred their payments. The artisans who could not operate due to the pandemic and fell to default had the chance to register their causes of force majeure. And we have facilitated the procedures for credit lines. We also supported our craftsmen, our artisans in terms of their rental payments, and we have allocated more than 5 billion liras of grants. Within the framework of the measures and lockdowns, to compensate for the economic loss, we have totally made a payment which is more than 4.3 billion on the unmovables of the treasury. We ensured the deferrals of rental payments or reduction on rental costs. Other than those emergent measures, annual tax or tax statement periods were extended, and the social security premium payments also were postponed, and which these all, of course, contributed to the economic prosperity of all. To ensure you keep your shops open and even develop it more, we mobilized all means of this state. My brothers and sisters, even though we have the bad news sharers, the roots of which we have still not fully dried out, are acting. You know how efficiently we act. If we had listened to those people only, those doomslayers, those bearers of bad news only, we would have been devastated. However, we march on our path by caring only for our actions. Neshat Ertaş, the poet, may he rest in peace, says those who do not get ashamed of himself will never be ashamed of anyone around him. And those who try to make their interests run ahead of themselves are not ashamed of themselves. Do we have problems? Yes, we do. However, these are not issues we cannot overcome as long as we stand in solidarity and work together. You have been observing the developments in economy. Thanks to the measures we have taken and the practices we have put in use, we have registered the highest growth rates in the world. In export, we have been breaking records, one record after the other. The employment figures have even exceeded the pre-pandemic period. Our investors, to increase their production, now even have challenges to find raw materials and expand their logistics channels. Even though we do not have resources that bring in hot money, or even though we do not have to have the money to put in use immediately, we have been using all means possible to ensure the flow of economy. And in the shortest time possible, we will be taking the inflation rates under control and prevent the extreme price increases on the labels of products sitting on the market shelves. Nothing is ours, but the efforts we have will be ours, as Neshat Ertaş stated. And as long as we make this principle dominate our lives, we will be finding solutions for every problem. And with this, one of the most important centers of sugarcane production of our country, Kirsehir. For Kirsehir, I would like to share some procurement figures. Last year in sugarcane production, we broke the records of the Republican history with a figure of 23,000 tons, and I believe we will have a very fruitful season this year too. The purchasing price of sugarcane was 336 per ton, but this year's figure per ton is 420 for sugarcane. sugar beet.
%25'lik bir artışı ifade eden şeker pancarı alım fiyatımızın
So this corresponds to a 25% of procurement figure. And I hope that the new price for the procurement, for the purchasing of sugar beet will be auspicious for our people. Distinguished brothers and sisters, we experienced a period, an era, in which some try to disconnect us from our past. There are those who try to make us forget our past. From education systems to media, all our bearing channels have been ordered for that direction. However, our nation has frustrated all such efforts by owning up to their values and principles. And thanks be to God, with the history, with our civilization, and with our values, we have been living an era in which we mobilize all our means to the fullest extent. From our education and culture, politics to architecture, we see the manifestations of this understanding in all fields, ensuring that certain anniversaries have been included in UNESCO calendar is itself enough to express our understanding, and the events organized within the framework of Evran year also need to be taken into account from that perspective. Week and the competition of painting with the theme of fair sharing took place, and I congratulate all the winners, and I congratulate all who will receive the Ahi Community and Morality awards. And I would like to extend my thanks to each and every one, and I greet you all once again with love and respect. Thank you. Stay in health.
Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan'a konuşmaları için çok teşekkür ediyor ve zat devletlerinin bir müddet daha sahnede misafir ediyoruz. Değerli konuklar, saygıdeğer hemşehrilerimiz, saygıdeğer Kırşehirliler, Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, Ahi Evran yılı resim yarışmasında dereceye giren 4 kişiye ödüllerini verecektir. İlk olarak mansiyon ödülünü almak üzere Sayın Enes Ekinci'yi sahneye davet ediyorum. Buyurunuz lütfen.